Welcome back to What If Turles Was Canon. This will be the final part. The last video did awful, absolutely terrible, so you all hate the series apparently, but I don't hate it, so I guess I'll just finish it off here and make the movie, and then you guys will enjoy another series, which I'm sure you're happy about. We cut to King Piccolo. King Piccolo would look at Granola as Granola looked at him and said, "If you help me, we'll get our revenge together. If I could just unlock my potential, I can reach a power never seen before." Granola would say, "Why don't I just take the power for myself?" King Piccolo looked at him and said, "Simple, really. You're not good enough to defeat them, but I am." Granola would get mad and begin to blast a ki blast at him, but King Piccolo would be way stronger in this timeline since he absorbed a bunch of his kin before he came here, shooting them out and absorbed them again and again like an infinite power boost. But even that wouldn't be enough. He needed to compete with this god ki, and he knew it. King Piccolo needed to get much stronger. As Granola looked at him, they began to battle each other, and Granola was actually a pretty good martial artist. He stayed far away, he kept his distance, and he always tried to hit Piccolo in his pressure points. However, it wasn't enough. Eventually, Piccolo would win, and Granola would look up and say, "Fine, you're the better fighter. Let's get our revenge." As they would search for days on end, eventually they would find the last Dragon Ball, as they gathered the two and summoned the dragon. As Piccolo wished to have his potential unlocked, the dragon looked at it and said, "Alright, but you'll have to make a deal." "A deal? You don't just grant wishes?" "No, I don't. For your potential to be unlocked, you're going to have to sacrifice a part of yourself, a part which you like." "What does that mean?" As Pironga looked, he said, "You're going to have to give up your immortality." Piccolo looked, and he knew he'd be vulnerable if he did this, but if his potential was unlocked, he'd be way stronger than them, and besides, without his immortality, he wouldn't be able to do much anyway with it. I mean, if he was immortal but wasn't stronger, they could just knock him into the sun again. And Akayam, of course he didn't know about that last part, so he agreed to give up his immortality to unlock his potential. As suddenly the ground began to shake and his skin turned orange. Piccolo would smirk as he was ready to get his revenge. As that was going on, we cut to Turles. Turles would be training with Whis. As suddenly, as Whis tried to hit him, he would dodge it without thinking, but then he would get hit right after that. Whis would smile and say, "It seems you're trying to learn how I move. You remember what I said, right?" Turles would say, "Yes, to fight and move without thinking. That is the goal." Kakarot would say, "That's stupid. A true martial artist thinks with each strike. They think what each blow will do." Whis would say, "Maybe, but mindless movement can work very well too. If you really don't want to do this, Kakarot, then there's really only one other technique you can learn that's similar to it, but quite the opposite at the same time." Kakarot would say, "Really, what's that?" Beerus would walk in and say, "Ultra Ego." As Kakarot would look and say, "What? Ultra Ego? That's the technique. It relies on your rage and power, and the more damage you take, the more damage you give. It turns you into a god of destruction, at least the power-wise. You see, I use Ultra Ego every time I fight. That's what gives me my strength. That's what gives me my power. And you can use it too, but it will take a lot of hard work. Are you ready?" Kakarot would look up at him and nod and say, "Yes, I'm ready to learn." As Kakarot would start to learn from Beerus, Turles would learn from Whis. As Whis was trained to get Ultra Instinct and Kakarot was trained to get Ultra Ego, they seemed to be working to different goals. But even though they wanted different techniques, they both wanted the same thing: power. Unlimited power. However, little did they know that a new threat was coming, a threat that they were going to need all the power they could handle to defeat. As they went away from Beerus' planet, they would go back to their capital world, as they would oversee their empire. Things have been boring. There has been rebels and fighters and things like that, but they're so strong they're easily able to crush it. They are nothing to them. They are emperors. They are like gods that rule over a bunch of tiny, pathetic ants. But suddenly a spaceship would land. As they felt a huge power level walk out, they began to shake. They were surprised. Of course, they could probably handle it with their god ki. They flew in and saw King Piccolo, and there was a guy beside him. Turles would say, "How did you get out?" King Piccolo would say, "Majin Buu brought me out.
After that, I planned my revenge. I've become so powerful. There's no way you can defeat me. As then, Granola would smirk as he managed to pull out his blaster, ready to snipe them. As Kakarot said, "You have gotten strong, but you don't know about God King, do you?" As he turned blue, King Piccolo would laugh and say, "I do know. Majin Buu told me more than you think." As suddenly, King Piccolo would turn orange. As suddenly, Kakarot and Turles would begin to shake. What is that power? As they both turned blue, Kakarot would go blue evolution, so would Turles. As Orange Piccolo would say, "Oh, you evolved your little pathetic form of blue." Doesn't matter. Let's see what's stronger, blue or orange. As suddenly he would stretch out his arm and grab them both and knock them both in the head. As he battled them both, he would keep them far away from Granola, as he would start to snipe them in their pressure points. Kakarot and Turles knew this couldn't go on like this forever, so he decided to stall. Kakarot knew that Piccolo loved to talk about himself. If he could distract him long enough, maybe they can fully master their techniques. It's a long shot, but it's the only shot they have. Kakarot would say, "Well, what are you going to do after this, once you kill me?" King Piccolo would laugh and say, "What kind of a stupid question is that? I'm going to take over this universe, and I will rule it. I've always meant to rule it. Ever since you met me, I've been under you. And ever since I stopped being under you, you've always found a way to defeat me. It ends here. I am the great King Piccolo, and I will not lose to you. I will not bow down to your kind." As suddenly, as Piccolo would try to punch Turles, he would move out of the way without thinking, his eyes closed as he began to move so smoothly, began to move purely on instinct. This shocked Piccolo. "What the hell are you doing?" Kakarot began to laugh. "You did it, didn't you, father? He's unlocked a form that the angels use, a form where you can move and fight without thinking. Ultra Instinct." As King Piccolo began to fight Turles, he actually started to lose. This pissed him off as he said, "No, no, no! I gave up my immortality for this. I gave up everything for this. I refuse to lose!" As suddenly, King Piccolo would turn giant to try to intimidate them as he shot a massive mouth blast at them. But Turles would simply deflect the blast, fly up, and kick Piccolo down to the ground. As then, Turles started to win. This pissed King Piccolo off. He fought so hard. He tried so hard, but no matter what he did, he could never win. This pissed him off more than anything ever before. King Piccolo started to remember everything, how they made him work under him, how he trained with them, how he fought with them, and most of all, how he was humiliated by them. Suddenly, as Kakarot was distracted, Granola would grab him and hold him tight. As he said, "Let me go, no!" As suddenly he began to yell, everything began to shake. As Kakarot said, "What are you doing, blowing myself up, killing you? I may not be able to win this battle, but at least I'll take a Saiyan with me!" As before he blew up, suddenly Kakarot was pushed to the limits as his hair turned purple. As he turned Ultra Ego, he would then punch him and then blow him up, killing Granola. As then Ultra Ego Kakarot and Ultra Instinct Turles both ganged up on Piccolo. As Piccolo eventually just fell to the floor and began to cry, "It's not fair! It's not fair! I was the strongest on Earth! I should be the strongest! I should rule the universe! Not you! It's not fair!" Kakarot would then smirk and begin to laugh. "You're nothing but a slug man, a worthless being compared to the true might of the Saiyan race. You know what else is not fair? Not having an afterlife." As suddenly Kakarot would Akai him, erasing King Piccolo. As Turles and Kakarot looked at each other, they smirked, achieving a new form. As then Beerus would walk up to them both. "Nicely done. Now it's time I choose one of you to be the next god of destruction." But we have time for that. Turles and Kakarot would go train on Beerus' plan. They would compete to become the new god of destruction. Who won? It didn't matter. No matter who won the title, Turles and Kakarot would still be together. They were thick as thieves. And this was the journey of Turles and Kakarot, and how they took over the universe and defeated King Piccolo and defeated everyone that stood in their way, and eventually became gods themselves. And that is going to end this series off. Hope you all enjoyed. I know I did. I don't know how many people was watching this. Last video didn't even crack 100, which is crazy. I don't know why. But yeah,
I hope you enjoy the next series, and the movie about this should come out tomorrow, so hope you're excited for that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think of this video down in the comments below. I love every single one of you. Thank you for making my dreams come true. Peace out.